you are involved with, Dr. Barrett, Dr. Lin. Now we have to talk about the future. We have a lot of problems in today's world. We always had, we always have, we always will have. How do you envision the future of community psychology, and how will community psychology interact with the problems that we have?
That's a great question.
This is a test of creativity in some way.
Well, I think one of the trends in the field is to move towards more of an international approach to solving community issues. And one thing we're always really aware of is the culture of the community in which you work. But the division itself, community psychology, really has been trying to become more global in our outreach, so that individuals in the United States can work with individuals, say, in New Zealand or Australia. You know, we may partner with community psychologists there to solve a community issue. And so I think we are starting to apply the collaborative nature of community psychology in solving more global issues.
That is fascinating, to work with different countries cooperatively. Right. You know, in my mind, sometimes I muse about this, how nice it would be to have some psychologists in government, working with politicians, solving issues related to international conflicts.
Well, actually, there actually are, and there is a division for peace studies, and in fact, Dr. Leon just wrote a reviewed an article for the Journal of Peace Studies. There are psychologists involved in that, and in fact, social psychology itself was developed as what was called sociopolitik, which was the political arm actually in the German government in the 1800s that looked at the relationship between people and policy. And that developed in the United States, in the United States Academy, in the university, as looking at the way social influence transforms or organizes people, right? So I think that when you talk about the future, it's, for me, very hard not to think about children, kids.
Sure.
And it's probably why I went into the university after I left. You know, why did I stay in the university? Who the heck wants to do that? School. But I knew that that's where kids are. That's where they, you know, the next generation of thinkers and actors is going to be. So I think that the future of all aspects of human improvement rest in high quality, accessible, actually public education.
Okay.
You know, so that's number one. And two, I think in protecting and defending democracy, really defending it. Not what we do when we go out necessarily and we go to war against people who we say, you know, did this and that, but really defending what it means to have people from the ground up have a voice and a say in what needs to happen to their local communities, to their states, and to their country, because they're educated fully about it.
I understand, but let me ask you this, and I really don't know the answer to this. I'm kind of ignorant when it comes to this. Let's say I'm the President of the United States, okay, and I have a cabinet. The cabinet decides on all kinds of serious issues related to war and peace and
Everything.
Everything.
Yeah, all policy.
How deeply does psychology get into the action? Is there anything like an advisory system?
There are. I don't know if there's an advisor who's a psychologist. I can't answer that in this cabinet, or you know. But I do know, having worked with the APA and having worked on various bodies, that the American Psychological Association trains psychologists of every persuasion, of every area, to be involved in the direct work of the federal government for policy, particularly very much in health policy, addictions, in the standard things that you would think, child development, and also the Society for Research in Child Development, which is an allied agency and group of professional psychologists and educators. They also have congressional fellows. I, in fact, served as a congressional fellow, not through the APA, but on my own. I served in 1995 during a sabbatical. By the way, this is why professors take sabbaticals, so that they can develop themselves and learn.
That's right.
I served for a congressman in Queens, a guy named Gary Ackerman, who had been in the Congress a very long time. and I worked on base realignment and closure, which was closing down the Nike base and the Army, the Air National Guard and the Coast Guard, and looking at what was going on. You would say, well, why would a psychologist do that? And because when they closed those bases, they had to figure out how those bases were now going to be realigned to serve the community. And they wanted somebody to go into the community. So there's ways, I think, in which psychologists can be very directly involved.
Sounds great. Now I have one final question, which also has to do with Ann Fisher. What do you think, how could a singer help community psychology?
Oh, that's easy. Just think about Pete Seeger. I say, for me, that's very easy. Just think about Pete Seeger. I mean, who could organize more people to a movement or to an action than a person who loves to sing and whose heart convinces people to act and engage?
Absolutely.
We have a lot of the arts are really important in developing communities. I mean, we have people who are singing, but we also have acting and painting and things like that can go into developing a community and helping them become more prideful of who they are, but also getting messages out. I mean, just as Dr. Barrett was talking about, even that's important.
So I just want to quickly say something here that, you know, this radio show, the chapter's wrap with Steve Vaccaro. Steve Vaccaro is not a community psychologist, but he does community psychology work.
Mm-hmm.
And
Agreed.
his heart and soul is in it. So this is an extremely appropriate show that we had here today, talking about community psychology. It was extremely well done and very educational and very entertaining at the same time. So let's go to Anne. We heard about problems. Please cheer us up a little bit, please. Anne is going to sing to us. I have got the world on a string.
And I have.